Okay, so I did all the readings for this month of June. However, I missed Aries, so I'm going to do Aries now. Original Aries, April 19th and May 13th. Gallbladder, pancreas, Tuesday, diamond, ram, Mars, emerald, iron, and carnelian. I believe the carnelian is the red stone. It's reddish, a little bit dark. So initially when I was setting this whole thing up, I was guided to go straight to the Island Time Wellness, the Love Tarot card. So I'm going to see what that says. For Aries. Okay, Aries. What do you got? It is hot out, guys. Ooh, camera. Okay, so somebody's probably watching you. Reminiscing, keepsake, perception, learn from the past, make memories. I think the biggest mistake a person can make is not learning from the past cycles that they've already been through, especially if they've been really, really heavy. I mean, the lessons that we have to learn aren't always in the easiest way, but they can be easier depending on whether or not we embrace the, I want to say challenge, whether or not we embrace the lessons and whether or not we're learning from them instead of repeating cycles again and again. Hence the whole idea of cycle breakers, the ones that break the curses, especially through bloodlines and stuff like that as well. So if you've got an admirer that's watching you, it's quite possible you could be thinking about somebody else. So if you're in the, what do you call that, nostalgia phase, then you're going to be really tempted to maybe flip through photo books or maybe go through old items and stuff. Keep in mind, items actually hold energy as well, and they can also hold attachments. So do your cleansing, do your clearing, make sure that your perception's not clouded. Cleanse your space, cleanse yourself, do a bath, any sort of saging or something like that before and after you get into the nostalgic past, just in case. Addiction. So let's say you are looking through all this and it's bringing up old emotions and stuff like that. Codependent, obsession, possession, controlling has a block and restraint. So quite possibly you could be creating your own blocks. It's not a bad thing, it's just something to acknowledge. It's a possibility, and you could very well be doing that to yourself. So let's say there's somebody that is no longer in your life because time has come where you go your separate ways, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. They were in your life for a season or momentarily to teach you something, and you're supposed to learn from each other. Regardless of whether or not they learn something, that's a whole other story, but you're not responsible for them like that unless you take on the burden, and that comes with a whole other challenge as well. So that could be creating your blockage, and you could very well be turning to certain things like alcohol or, you know, smoking a joint once in a while. But if you're turning to something like an aid or like something that's like a crutch, make sure you know why you're doing it. Are you doing it to enjoy yourself, or are you doing it to block out something? Because what that's doing is exactly telling the universe that you're expecting a blockage. You want to block stuff out, that's what you're going to get in return. And I have to take my advice as well when I give it out to you guys. So far, if there's somebody in your past, you know, let's say you were in a long-term relationship or you just ended a marriage. Right now, everything's shifting, and there's a reason people are coming together or pulling apart. It's not necessarily a bad thing. And yes, if you're very codependent, especially, it can be very painful. It's almost like compartmentalizing and being able to emotionally detach, but not without empathy. You still have to have empathy and compassion for the other person and understand the situation and not be brutally mean or whatever, and not learn your own lessons and just be in like a karmic sort of energy, but at the same time realize this is not working and mutually go your separate ways. Sometimes the other person's going to make it harder, but it all depends on how you're going to react to their reaction. They're responsible for theirs, you're responsible for yours. That's all I can tell you about that. Actually, let's get a couple cards for that. Excuse me. I wanted to knock 6 times. Interesting. You've got more than enough. You've got more than enough potential. You're able to harness your emotions too. almost like when you go through a painful phase, it kind of gives you a boost or an energy, almost like adrenaline would, and you're able to push forward. But however, if you're staying stuck on an emotion specifically, you're going to keep dwelling. There's a reason they call that, because some wells are very deep and it's hard to get out of. So make sure you have like a nice little staircase on the way up, or you don't get knocked into one. All right, you're more than capable. This does feel like your energy, Aries. It doesn't feel like the other party. I think maybe they were, you know, sent in for a specific reason, and now they're being kind of guided out, or in this case, escorted. Let's see what that means. Careful with the addictions too. Drink some more water. If you don't like water, because I know there's some people that hate drinking water, drink some juice. Drink some carbonated water with flavor. Something to replace alcohol, especially if it's like in can form. Okay, so this fell. This is the King of Cups. Quite possibly he's had a nice little fall, or she, but whoever this partner is of yours, either they're going through a tough time. They did bring love. You brought love too, more than enough apparently. See that? She's the one dishing out the water. She's got 2 jugs, he's got a tiny little cup. So either you or this person's taken a little bit of a fall, and it's not a bad thing. These are learning curves. These are put in our life, almost like a tower moment, to teach us certain things. And I just brushed my teeth, so it kind of feels weird in my mouth if I'm talking funny. Whatever I was going through before with the stuttering and stuff like that, which is not typically my energy, I think you're going to be getting another offer, or you've got maybe it's an offer from the same person, but make sure you're good and ready first. What's that? Temperance. Yeah, again, with the water back and forth. They're kind of both hand in the water. A lot of emotion here. Take your time. Be patient with yourself. You're allowed to dip your toe in if you're dating right now. If you're in a relationship, then this is kind of learning new stuff about your partner that you didn't know before, because everything's changing. And increase to emotion can be overwhelming, especially if somebody's not prepared for it. Let's see, where do I want to go in here? Let's get a flip through. Mid-wicket. Fielding position. So maybe you feel like you're playing a game. Maybe you're in the whole idea of a sportsmanship sort of mentality. The ball's in your court, quite possibly. The first thing I look at is mid-wicket. So I don't know if you're in like a middle position right now. You could be a mediator. I don't suggest you take that on if you're dealing with your own emotional stress. Don't do that. It's not necessary. Somebody else can handle their own, and if they can't, that's, you know, once you're good, then maybe you can help them, especially if they're a friend. But if it's an ex-lover and you're trying to help them get through something that may be, you know, that may be taking on their karma, be careful. Jewish, combining form. Eyepiece or magnifying glass. So you could be of Jewish descent, very possibly. There could be something to do with your glasses or eyepiece or magnifying glass. So maybe what's being shown to you right now, or this whole situation, is actually really showing you some things you needed to see. Some things that maybe you didn't want to admit before, but it's okay. We all have our walls. We put them up on purpose so that we protect ourselves. The only problem is that kind of like blocks us, like a stasis mode, and it doesn't really allow for growth. It doesn't allow for new things to come in. It doesn't really allow for us to blossom or become the best version of ourselves, because then we kind of put a stop to the learning at that moment in time. So maybe watch that. Mistake and error. Don't beat yourself up too much. If somebody else has made a mistake and you're taking on the burden, that's another thing too. Be careful with that. And I would say right now, the energy I'm getting is that you feel like maybe you made a mistake. Maybe you put your boundaries down and they were so overwhelming that it caused a huge tower between the two of you, or maybe they did it to you in return. So they put their boundaries and you couldn't process that at that time because you weren't given the tools or the knowledge to manage the emotions you're feeling. It's not a bad thing. This is kind of like your journey, right? So you got to be able to forgive yourself, and you can forgive other people, but ultimately it's going to be for you. I wouldn't really worry too much about that. Mock trial, legal debate conducted by law students. A moot. Oh, you could very well be going through... Yeah, we got an offer, and then we got movement. You could be going through school right now, quite possibly something to do with judicial or any kind of law enforcement. But at the same time, you got to fight your fears. You got to be able to move forward. So maybe just focus on your career or school. Don't worry so much about what's going on. If there's some sort of trial, like let's say there's a divorce or something, it's getting a bit messy, stay calm. Okay? You're responsible for your actions, what you say, what you do, how you act, and stuff like that. So carry yourself accordingly. If you are one to dish out that sort of thing, let's say you're already in and you've already arrived at that sort of position, make sure that your emotions are not interfering with your business aspect of it. Very much so, make sure. Or you're kind of putting your own bias spin on the story that's being placed in front of you because of the fact that you're going through whatever you're going through, which isn't necessarily a good thing either. It's good to get some understanding as long as you're not making judgment calls solely based on it. Take a step back if you need to take a breather, take a vacation. Can we get more about the King of Cups over here? He fell on the floor. Could be a woman in masculine energy too. Somebody that's usually doting, loving, willing to wait on you at some point, but also has a tendency to stand in their own. Underneath his suit of red there is yellow, so he's definitely got control, or she's got control of their solar plexus. Instead of wearing the green sleeves, it's yellow sleeves. I see that. That's quite nice. It's got like a little ottoman to step up on. Maybe he uses specific things to help him step up and elevate, or she uses specific things to get to a certain frequency. Hopefully that's not you, because then I would completely understand why that didn't really work. Worried about pinching pennies, maybe placing money away. It almost looks like you didn't want to share. That's the energy I'm getting from this card. Like you didn't want to share what you have, so it's created a lot of blockages and maybe some fights. Doesn't necessarily have to be over money. It could be over energy. It depends what kind of relationship you had. But this person here knows full well, they see into the future, and maybe they made certain judgment calls so that things didn't play out a certain way. But however, when we dictate, like anything else, instead of surrendering and understanding that the divine has a specific timing for things, sometimes that can end up us in certain situations that aren't so fun. I speak from experience. But sometimes they need to be done that way too. All depends. Interesting how things play out. Oh, this one wanted to come out. Yeah. Loss over a loved one, loss over a relationship, loss over something. Maybe feel a little disconnected. Crying too much. That water bear there. Crying too much can have like a reverse effect from the whole idea of a phoenix. You drown the phoenix out. You gotta let it, you give yourself a chance to get back up again. If you keep going through the same emotional cycle again and again and again, you're gonna be exhausted. Okay, can I get let's go with past life. What does this have to do with the past life? Quite possibly male and female. So I'm going to say that this has been passed down, maybe not just on their side, but your side. Passed down in generations, and this is the same thing, like cats and dogs, fighting, never coming to agreements, or turning your back on each other, hopefully not throwing each other under the bus. The male looks very preoccupied, and the woman just looks very upset. It's two completely different faces. That's what I'm getting on that. This almost looks like 40s, 50s style. I could be wrong. I don't know. You can drop in the comments if you know what that is, if you can see it. Their attire. Something to do with dress. Codependent. Again, that's a lesson in itself. Do your research on codependency, because it can be many different things. It doesn't have to be one specific thing. There could be a specific reason. Can we get another card? Past life. Leaving or travel. I mean, what more do you want me to say about that? It's pretty self-explanatory. And instead of seeing a train there, you see a huge freaking trunk. It almost looks like the same era, if you ask me. Same era or time. Maybe this is something from your, it would be 3 generations ago, I think. Maybe 2. No, I'm going to say, no, maybe 2. 2 generations ago? Depends how old you are. I want to say 3. But this could be a lesson that's passed down to you. Now you got to figure out what the lesson is. So what am I codependent on? Why am I having such a hard time sharing? Why is it that I can't get along with the opposite sex or same sex? And just the negative, or yeah, the negative energies that come with masculine or feminine. Why is it that I feel compelled to leave, or that I always push people away? Ask yourself certain questions. What can I learn? I'm going to switch over. A lot of fighting, or you're combative. You're, maybe you get in the kind of, as soon as somebody steps over your boundaries, instead of trying to understand it, you're automatically, your walls go up. You're like, well then, fine. This came out. A rune. I will save that for later because we're not doing that just yet. Thank you. What is it? What is it specifically? Possession. Okay, again, with pinching coins, not sharing, wanting your energy or wanting your specific way. This could be you or the other person. Reminiscing. So you're thinking of all the good times, which is making you trump the bad times. But you're not learning anything. You're just focusing solely on emotion. It's not going to teach you anything. You got to, like, observe. Not necessarily fully analyze it, but just try to understand it. Because I know some people say, oh, don't analyze it, it gets too complicated. Well, those are people that are going to be a lot more confused about other people, especially, and what's going on around them when they don't understand themselves. And a Knight of Swords. It fell to the ground, upright, ready to go. It's almost like he's leaning back. He doesn't really quite want to fight, but he's going to do it anyway. The horse looks happy as F. I don't know why I'm worried about language. I swear all the fucking time. Maybe this is somebody that's come in. Somebody that's replacing the other person. Can we get more on the Knight of Swords a little bit here? Yeah. Mature and responsible person. This is somebody younger than you, I'm going to take it. Or you could be this younger person. And you're coming into a relationship that's already fallen apart. So you're kind of like, this is having an adverse effect on me right now. I need to take a step back and do my own thing because I'm taking on all this. Reliable, methodical, patient, persistent, ability to conclude a task, laborious, and organized. So this is either you or the other person, or a new person coming in. Looks like a new person coming in, if you ask me. What else can I get here? Mogul. That's a mogul. What is mogul? I just seen that. A governor. Mogul. So not mogul with an E. M-O-G-U-L. Mogul. A governor in India. So maybe this is somebody you know. or this is somebody that's close by, or somebody that's kind of intervening. This could be maybe even be, I'm getting lawyer. Proofing. Proofing, or like fickle. Changing constantly or liable to change. Fickleness, unsteadiness, inconsistency, levity. So maybe you're trying to make your mind up, or the other person can't make their mind up. Either way, this other person comes in. I put it right over the Nine of Swords. So quite possibly, instead of the King of Cups, whatever offer you're getting, this could be the one coming in, and this is the one that's gone. However, I don't feel that that's the case. It doesn't seem that way to me. Marshal, senior member of the king's household, especially a judicial advisor. Again, with the whole legal system. Something to do with a legal case. I don't know if this is pertaining to you especially, but I think it might be. Perception. Hopefully nobody's accused somebody falsely, because that could be a huge problem. And normally people that accuse another person, especially like constantly over and over and over again, there's no understanding, it's just complete projection onto other people, could be responsible themselves for doing just that. So careful with the monarch. Okay. Ooh, and all the fucking, what you call them? Which ones came down? 4, exactly. 1 in my hand and 3 on the ground. Just give me a second. Use what you got. I'm going to use a book. God. Maybe somebody's throwing the book at you. Addict. Addict. Somebody in the middle of something. Okay, monarch, yeah. That's usually somebody on a higher, even spiritually. Could be spiritually as well. Got my hands together. We'll do this now, because it really seems to want me to read that. Okay, just give me a second. Alright, for Aries, what time do we got? 22:30, okay. I'm getting that a lot this month. I did a few readings. This is a blank one, so unknown. Pardon my looks, guys. I don't always look glamorous, and I don't care to. We got IWAS, you, which is strength, stability, denial, defense. That could be the whole trial itself. Tree of Life, which is information. I, trustworthiness, protection, motivation, reliability, enlightenment, transformation, and a turning point. So this is definitely your tower, whatever's going on you're involved in. You can either choose to participate and learn what you need to, or you can ignore it. It's up to you. Running doesn't help, especially if you're planning on leaving it all behind and not learning a damn thing. At least do your introspection on your own in your hermit mode. So that'd be I and Y, and it'd be pink and green for heart chakra and crown chakra. Yeah. What else do we got here? Dagas. Day, hope, transform, happiness, success, dawn, breakthrough, awareness, planning, clarity, and breakthrough. I wrote it twice for some reason on there, so it's definitely something that's going to change your life. That's for D. And we got pink and we got yellow for crown chakra and solar plexus. I would definitely work on the solar plexus. Keep your vibration high. If you're going through a lot of emotional things, at least try to balance it out with some happier stuff, okay? Especially nostalgia. If you're going back there, try to look at some nice ones too. And you got a second blank one. 2 blank rooms out of that whole thing. The questioner. Somebody on stand, or somebody questioning another person. Or you're being questioned. You have a lot of questions. Just give me a second. Male. Male has a lot of questions. Interesting. Wealth. What kind of wealth? Why do we got the 4 coins if it has to do with wealth? somebody taking from somebody. Oh, well, if it's divorce, shit, it could be the whole idea of splitting. I don't know too much about prenups myself. I've never been married. I've been engaged twice. This is my second time. But I've never actually went through with the wedding. So we'll see how that goes. I have good hopes. Ace of Coins. So whatever this is, you're moving on, or they're moving on. I'm going to say you, because we got the star and the upright. Just make sure you don't get caught up with this, okay? Word to the wise. If you want your Ace of Coins. Alright? What else can we grab? I want another past life card, because that's all. This is all the same shit. You're probably tired. Male leaving. Don't get hung up. Sometimes rejection's a form of protection. That's worldwide. And if the other person's rejected you, that's their loss, right? Don't worry about it. Good catch. Communal living. You might be moving into another building, or maybe you're moving into a setting with a lot of people, or maybe you're used to co-living with a bunch of people that have an influence on your past relationship, or it's just your situation right now. That could be something from the past. It could be a lot to do with what type of, I don't want to say religion, what would I say? What type of cohabitation that has been passed down. You know how some people are used to being crammed in a building, and other people are used to living in a huge freaking mansion with 2 people, and other people are used to living like in a decent sized place with one person per room. Like, that's what I'm trying to get at. So you could be in a situation right now that's kind of replicating something from the past. Maybe change it up. Maybe that's the whole idea. Either leave or get into this. Be surrounded with different people. One more, just because I'm curious. Oh, spouse. That's the first time I pulled that card. That is the prettiest little dress. It's a lot ruffly, more ruffly than I would go for. I don't even know what I would go for. But look at the little beret hat thing. It's not even like a regular thing. I'm like fascinated. Easy. Okay. Can we get a clarification card for spouse, please? Page of Clubs. Interesting. What are you on the lookout for? Are you searching for a spouse? Or are you waiting for an ex-lover to come back? Somebody that you care deeply about. So this one's not working out. You're gonna wait for your ex. Power. What kind of power? Torch. Oh, solar plexus. What brings you joy? So maybe you're meant to reconnect with a past lover. Quite possible. Ra. Sun god Ra. Ooh. There's a lot of divine unions happening right now. Like, legitimately people coming together that it's going to stand the test of time, which we need. We need really stable relationships now. This came in the reverse. So past heartbreak. I don't know. Hopefully that helps.